Trust me, I'm a sales rep. Of course, it was never helpful to tell people what they should do in general, but especially if you're telling somebody, just trust me. I'm a marketing person. I'm promising you everything's 10x. Just trust me. Our solution works for everybody across all industries every single time. Just trust me. I'll evaluate this thing internally and get back to you. Just trust me. I will do everything in my power to make you successful after I close the deal. The way these things work, if you say just trust me, don't really work out that well, right? The challenge that we now have in marketing on the trust side is it became so easy to craft copy, to basically distribute copy via cold emails, via blog entries, via SEO, via websites, and so on, that it's very hard to distinguish from the outside of what's genuine and what's actually fake in terms of like what's not authentically true. And the challenge we see all the time at Sales Playbook is people are very unclear about what they actually achieve for customers, right? It's very, very first person centric. It's very we about us, ourselves, and so on. And people don't get it, like why they should trust somebody to really take action now. I see this a lot of times take like a B2C example, like a personal one with eye surgery. Like I laser my eyes a decade ago at like -8, -6.5 combined with basically Hornhautverkrümmung. So it's like not blind, but like at least like when I run out of money, it's like a teenager pretty much. Like a good way was like take off glasses and it basically saves you a beer, right? That was about the only advantage probably. But when I tell people, hey, like just laser your eyes as well, it's a horrific investment, but it's like the best one you can take. Like tremendous improvement in life quality. Is like, I might be blind, like I'm like this might not work, and so on. Like even if it has been around for 30 years, if I tell people just trust me, it doesn't work. Even if like you have a website like with like tons of happy people and so on, like it's a very emotional thing to build that trust, and then also to go from trust to trigger to action. So people are like, let's maybe wait and see how this evolves. Let's just like have other people like experience that and see like if they become blind. Like I had this like when I lasered my eyes like in December 2014, like a decade ago, literally. A lot of people just like, they're like, okay, I'm gonna watch you from time to time. Like what happens after a month, a quarter, a year, and then some even a decade. And then over time, like 5 of my best friends took action as well, and they basically didn't do it then because of like website copy or because of a message or whatever. They did it like because they saw me and other people being really happy with it and like having zero issues after the eye surgery, after lasering my eyes. And then at one point, there's like the pain threshold is high enough, like the costs of inaction are high enough to like have glasses or like have contact lenses and then like glasses broke or like contact lenses didn't react well anymore. So the cost of inaction to not fix the problem was becoming really high. But only when the costs of inaction were higher than the fear of messing up, like the fear of doing something that will not help them, not make them die, but like have them suffer a permanent injury, like a very severe one in terms of like this maybe unjustified fear of turning blind, right? Like it's really unjustified from like a medical perspective. Like the procedure has been around for 3 decades and more. But people don't calculate like return on investment if it's about emotional decisions. It's really, do I trust the mechanism to improve my life, like as a person? And the same is true in B2B, like in like business transactions. It's not about if a deal is like 30,000 Swiss francs or 50,000 or like 100,000. It often makes no material difference to a person if they buy that or not. Like it's a line item, like the signature is the same, like it's 2 buttons in DocuSign or so. The difference is, do they trust that they will materially improve their own lives? Like, will it help them to getting promoted faster? Will it help them work less? Will it help them sleep better at night? Will it help them shine inside of the company? Will it help them keep their job versus losing their job? Or do they not trust the offer enough to actually take that decision because they fear that, for example, they invest into something in cybersecurity, and if there's a leak and they're head chief compliance officer and then there's a data breach and the bank exposes credit card numbers, the bank gets hacked, they might lose not only their job, but they might go to jail. They might never find a job again. They might not be well rewarded socially by their family and so on. So it becomes really tricky for people to build that trust based on what's out there. So how can you fix that? Right? How can you fix trust in marketing? Like just telling people trust me, like is the worst thing that you can do. Is like Johnny Cash telling in a movie, like I walk the line, like that's literally the movie name, right? Being really drunk, and a police officer stops Johnny and he says like, hey, I can walk the line. And the police officer is like, well, if you could walk the line so well, you could just walk the line without telling me that you can, because everybody can walk the line as an adult if they're not plain drunk. So it doesn't create trust, it actually like erodes trust over time. How can you fix that? There's a few things that you can do. One is like technical proof. You really show that you can do certain things. So for example, in the medical profession, like you need to study tremendously hard and the certificates on a wall. So like I'm a medically certified doctor, dentist, surgeon, whatever it is. And this is why you should trust me. You can then wear like a white glove and so on. And you're basically working in a hospital, not just out on the street or like in your basement, right? So that creates trust. That's trust by environment, right? The environment matters tremendously in these terms. Like if you would meet like a surgeon just outside on the street and the person gets with you with like a long knife and say like, I'm going to cut you open and I'm going to cut your heart out and I'm going to give you a new one. Really terrible idea in a dark alley. If the same person is in a hospital and then the frame is really different, that the surgeon is introduced by a nurse or by somebody that's really like that you trust really well because you had a consultation with them and they seem really trustworthy. They knew what they're saying, like they represent your concerns really well. And then the surgeon talks to you and also said like, I did the same thing like 20 times just in the past 3 months. That's then like technical proof combined with social proof. So he did the same mechanism, but for like 20 people. And then you might say like, well, can I talk to these people? How many of these 20 heart patients are still alive? And it's like 20 out of 20. So that's like a good one, right? And then the question is, can I talk to these people? Can I do a reference call to some of these 20 people that you claim are still alive, right? So it depends on like how strong the authority in the status and the frame is. If you need to have actual conversations, if like you're sufficiently happy to just have a quote by somebody else, if you're sufficiently happy in B2B to see the logos of other companies. So the way we do this at Sales Playbook, for example, are video testimonials, video feedbacks. So we actually then don't just write a case study that 10x, everything's 10x now at the client, but we ask the client on a video, like typically 3 to 15-minute video. It's like, hey, why did you not buy initially? What were your concerns and how have they resolved over time? What did you experience? Like, what was the challenge, the solution, and the impact you got from working with us? And then we take the authentic, basically video testimonial, like not fake, like literally in a Google Meet call, for example. And then we just take that because it's really authentic. And people might not feel confident to say like, hey, my revenue has grown 10x over like 3 years, which sometimes is the case. But they might say something like, hey, we've really been to market 6 months fast with you. We really saved 2 full-time equivalents in employees working with you for a 5-figure month, which would have cost us like 150, 200K fully loaded costs. And that's then really helpful. That's like an asymmetric reference call, right? So instead of basically just crafting all the really fancy website copy of number one, 10x, category leader, everything is amazing, which nobody then believes, you can be really specific. You can then have like really high value associations to people that are trustworthy. So again, the surgeon working in the best hospital versus the surgeon on the street versus the surgeon working in his own clinic. It really depends how you're recognized. And then another thing that you can do to build trust in marketing is just consistency over time, that you're telling the same thing, like with increasing depth, with increasing specificity to like a certain audience, to a certain ideal customer profile over time. And you're referencing basically the technical, the social, like the frame, like the ecosystem proof, what you did over time. So people trust you more over time. That's probably a topic for another day to really go deeper on like how many touch points and locations and exposure people need to really trust you.